A single glowing ember drifts through a void. It is a slow, rhythmic descent into darkness. We cling to the myth of the fire. We imagine a grand, cinematic collapse, a villain holding a torch to the heart of human wisdom. We want the tragedy to be loud, sudden, and singular. We want a climax we can point to. But the flame is a lie. The library did not die in a roar of heat. It did not vanish in a spectacular explosion of light. Instead, it starved in the cold, silent grip of indifference. We tell ourselves stories of arson to hide the more painful truth. We simply let it go. The end was not a scream. It was a long, hollow sigh that lasted centuries. 2,000 years ago, Alexandria stood as a sanctuary of light. 500,000 scrolls rested on cedar shelves, organized by the meticulous hand of Callimachus. His index, the Pinakes, spanned 120 scrolls just to catalog the titles. Imagine the weight of that knowledge. In those halls, astronomers tracked the dance of planets, and surgeons mapped the nerves of the human brain. It was the brain of the world, pulsing with the ink of 1,000 thinkers. Every scroll was a heartbeat of civilization, every shelf a pillar of human potential. They thought they had captured eternity within those stone walls, believing that as long as the scrolls remained, the light would never fade. Then, the funding stopped. The empire shifted its gaze. Politics and war began to drain the lifeblood of the institution. When Caesar burned his fleet in the harbor, the flames claimed some warehouses, but the library remained. The physical building survived the fire, but the soul was already beginning to wither. The real rot began in the damp, salt-heavy air. Without the gold of the state, the scholars could no longer maintain the fragile medium of their thoughts. The world became smaller, its interests turning toward survival and conquest rather than the slow, quiet labor of discovery. The empire was looking away, and in that darkness, the library began to breathe its last. Papyrus is a fragile pulse of life. Without the constant, laborious work of copyists, it decays into brittle waste. As political chaos fractured the city, the scribes walked away. Soldiers marched through the halls, shattering statues and clearing space for new masters who cared nothing for the old gods of logic. Religious extremists violently destroyed the temple of the Serapeum, turning centuries of philosophy into muddy street litter. The roof caved in. Rainwater pooled on the stone floors, washing the ink from the last remaining texts until they were nothing but blank, brown stains. No one signaled the end. There was no final bugle call. The silence simply deepened as the last scholars packed their bags and fled into the dust of history. A scroll picked up by a final, desperate hand crumbled into gray flakes before it could even be read. Centuries of medicine, poetry, and mathematics dissolved into the mud. The ink ran like tears into the gutters of Alexandria, and the world forgot it had ever known the secrets of the stars. It was a murder by 1,000 cuts of neglect, a slow erasing of the human record that no one bothered to stop. The shelves stood empty. We look at our modern servers and assume progress is permanent. We are wrong. Knowledge slips away when we stop caring. The greatest threat to our history is not the torch. It is the quiet, creeping spread of neglect.